Welcome everybody. Welcome to your practice, your energizing flow. My name's Emily. For our practice today, you may like to have a yoga block with you, or something that looks like a yoga block, or feels like a yoga block. It could be a stack of books, and also a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can just as easily use a belt or a scarf for our practice today. You can pop the belt to the side, and if you want to sit up onto your block, or if you have a bolster or a cushion that you'd like to sit up onto, let's start in a seat in Sukhasana today. So letting your legs ground, your sit bones ground, and then hands resting on your thighs or your knees, and lifting the spine up nice and tall. We'll take a few shrugs of the shoulders as we land here. So shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears and then rolling them down and back, and just doing a couple more of those. And you might let your eyes softly close and really feel into this movement within your body. And after a couple of times in one direction, you can change direction and move the other way. And then letting your shoulders soften down, and just letting your hands come out to the sides or in front of you, reaching them all the way up towards the sky and having a big stretch out through your fingertips. And then bringing the hands together, palms of the hands together, letting them rest at the center of your chest. And taking a moment here as we arrive to acknowledge the country that we're on. So you might take a moment here to pay your respects and gratitude to the first peoples of the land on which you practice today, honouring their elders past and present and those emerging. And I acknowledge here that the land was never ceded. Perhaps inviting in an intention for your practice today. So we work through our shoulders, strengthening and opening through shoulders and chest. Perhaps the quality that we might invite in today is one of gratitude. Choosing to be grateful in each moment, in each experience. And so that regardless of what is going on in your body today, what might be going on in your life, and you can choose your practice, a practice that works for you, and find a way to bring in that quality of gratitude into your practice. Let's inhale and exhale here. Dropping your chin gently down towards your chest and just experiencing whatever stretch you feel across the back of your neck. And from there, you can just move the chin a little from side to side. You might like to drop your hands down onto your knees if you haven't already, and just allow the chin to roll a little bit from side to side. And then bringing your head back to center, lifting the chin all the way back up again. One more little shrug of the shoulders. And then let's make our way over onto all fours. So you can pop your block off to the side. We're going to come to a tabletop position here, spreading the fingers underneath the shoulders. And so feet flat, tops of the feet flat onto the floor and your shins. So we create this nice solid foundation. So make sure that you're not locking your elbows. And then we'll take an inhale and drop the belly towards the floor, lifting your tailbone and your chest. And then exhaling, rounding through your spine, tucking the chin. And doing 3 or 4 more of these, really focusing on where your hands are in contact with the ground. So the mound of the thumb and the outside of that little finger and the rims of the palm. And really using this action. Might even be a very slight pulling towards you with your hands as your heart draws forwards. Rolling the shoulder blades onto the back of the heart, and then pressing the floor away as you round through your spine. And we'll do one more. And come back to your neutral spine. And then from there, we're going to take right hand up towards the sky, so reach it up. And then thread that right hand underneath your body and thread it all the way through to the left side. Inhale again, take your hand up. And exhale, thread the hand through. And see if you can really feel this through that upper spine. One more. Exhale to thread your arm through. This time you might thread it through a little bit further and come down onto that right shoulder. And you can keep your left hand on the ground for stability, or you can wrap that hand behind your back. And just make sure that the hips are nice and parallel, so you're not kind of swaying to one side through the pelvis, that we're really getting this movement through this upper thoracic spine. And then let's take that left hand back down to the ground again, press into the hand and unravel yourself, right hand to the sky. Placing that right hand down underneath your shoulder. Let's just come into one more cat-cow here. So dropping the belly, lift the tailbone in the chest. And then exhale, round through the spine, tuck your chin. Back to neutral spine again. So lower ribs stay nice and drawn in, left hand up to the sky. And then left hand underneath your body, threading through. Inhaling, left hand up. Keep those hips stable, so shins pressing down. And then coming through, you might find that you come a little further each time. And again, reaching up. And then threading under, and this time perhaps coming all the way through and down so the left shoulder and the side of the head is on the ground. And breathing here. And perhaps that right hand wraps behind your back. You can even use that hand just to help you feel that the pelvis is in alignment. And breathing in and out through your nose. Maybe that slight ujjayi breath, that constriction at the back of the throat. Right hand down to the ground again, let's unravel. Left hand up to the sky. And then left hand underneath your shoulder. We're going to come forwards into puppy stretch. So hips staying over the knees, hands walking forwards, and then melting your heart towards the floor. So you might be able to take your forehead down, lengthening out through the whole spine. Lower ribs stay drawn in as you open up through the shoulders. And let's take one more full breath here. And then slowly start to walk your hands or slide your hands back underneath your shoulders, pressing into the hands, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Let's find downward facing dog here. You might like to bend one knee and draw the opposite heel towards the floor in this downward facing dog. Just pedaling out through the legs. And then finding some stillness and really focusing on the hands. So the mound of the thumb, the rim of the palm, little finger, all pressing into the ground, and just watching that you don't lock your elbows, the softness through the elbows, and creating some broadness through the chest. Again, the lower ribs are drawn in and we're drawing the heart towards the thighs. Take another inhale there. Exhale, let it out. And then bend your knees and look towards your hands and step your feet all the way towards the front of the mat. As many steps as you need. Let's halfway lift here, drawing the heart forwards, really finding this length and as the vertebrae pull apart from each other. And then exhale, fold. And we'll roll all the way up to stand. So grounding into your feet, roll your spine up, tailbone lengthening, stacking the vertebra, and then reaching your hands all the way up towards the sky, stretching out. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. And that's it. Inhale again, reach up. Exhale, rolling down, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. We're going to pick up the right foot, step it to the back of the mat, come down onto your right knee, and then with that left knee over the ankle, let's inhale, reach up into Anjaneyasana, this low lunge. And taking your hands down to the ground again. We'll keep the right hand down and peel left hand to the sky. And then take both hands down to the earth. Step back to your knees. Bend your elbows, chest draws forwards as you lower yourself down to the ground. And then let's take the hands wide, so fingertips on the ground, elbows lift, inhale, peel the chest up into a wide arm cobra. Exhale, lower your spine back down again. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press your way all the way up and back to downward facing dog. Nice full inhale and exhale here. Remembering that if your shoulders or your wrists start to tire or this is not feeling good in your body, you can always come down to your knees. You can always take child's. Let this practice be your practice. So from either all fours or downward facing dog, we'll raise the right leg. And then we'll step that right foot through between the hands, drop down to the left knee, and inhale your hands up into a low lunge. I'm going to take the hands down to the ground again. Left hand stays there as the right hand peels across your chest to the sky. And then right hand down to the earth. Let's step forwards, coming to a halfway lift as you get there, heart drawing forwards, and then fold the chest down. And press into your feet. Keep the legs nice and strong as you roll up, reach up, and then bring hands to the heart. Inhale again, reach up. Exhaling, rolling down, forward fold. Heart draws forwards, inhale. Let's step left foot to the back of the mat. Left knee down, inhale, Energising, reach up. Exhale, hands to the ground. Left hand stays down, inhale, right hand up. And then right hand down to the earth. We're going to step back to plank. You might like to come to your toes this time. Shift forward so the shoulders are over the wrists. Look forward to the hands. And then either dropping the knees down or keeping them lifted, lower yourself to the floor. Inhale, the chest lifts into Bhujangasana with the hands under the shoulders this time. And exhale, press straight back to downward facing dog. Let's take left leg to the sky. Step your left foot forwards between your hands. Drop down to your right knee. Let's inhale the hands up, reach up. And then hands down to the ground. Right hand stays down, left hand peels up for that twisted lunge. Left hand to the earth, step forwards. Find a halfway lift, heart draws forwards, fingertips to the floor or the shins. And then folding. Roll yourself all the way back up again. Sweeping up, reach up. And bring hands to the heart. And let's inhale, sweep up. Exhaling, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step both feet back this time. I'm going to find plank. And then we'll find side plank from here. So right hand comes into the center. We want to really press the floor away with that right hand. Right knee underneath the right hip and extending the left leg. So we create this nice solid foundation here. Press the hips forwards. Length along the whole length of your body. And pressing out of that shoulder girdle so that you're drawing the chest open without poking the ribs out. So keep them drawn in. Maybe you look up towards that top hand and take an inhale there. And then let's come back down to plank. So both hands down, knees under the hips, and then swapping to the other side. So left hand into the center, left knee under the hip, and then right hand up towards the sky, extending that right leg out. And then press the floor away with your left hand. So you're really lifting out of that shoulder girdle. Breathing in and breathing out. And then both hands down to the ground. We're going to come to plank. You can come into your toes or your knees. Lower down through chaturanga, halfway or all the way. Lift up into your back bend, maybe a little higher cobra this time. Exhale back. Find downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale here. That's from there. Bend the knees, look to the hands. Step your feet all the way forwards, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. And sink your hips deep. Sweep your hands up. Come to chair, Utkatasana. So the fingers reaching forwards. And then standing up, bringing hands to your heart. And let's come back down into chair again. Sinking the hips down and back as the hands reach up. Exhale, come through forward fold. Take a halfway lift, inhale. And then let's step all the way back to fine plank. You You can come through the flow here, shifting forwards and lowering down through chaturanga. Maybe lifting up to an upward facing dog this time with the hips lifting, heart drawing forwards, and then exhaling back to find your downward facing dog. And we'll take right leg to the sky as you inhale. Keep the hands pressing into the ground, so you're finding length through both sides of the body. Right heel towards the buttock, and then lift your right knee up. So opening that hip up, but without collapsing through the left side, so keep pressing the floor away. Inhale and exhale there. And then shift your hips towards the floor again. Step your right foot through between the hands. And let's come up warrior one. Back heel grounds, right knee over the ankle, sweep your arms up, reach up. And then just bring your hands down to your hips. So we're just going to focus on bringing those hips and shoulders towards the front of the mat. And then straightening the right leg from there. We're going to tilt forwards into pyramid. So you might just want to bring that weight slightly into that front foot as you fold forwards. And you can stay with hands on the hips and a fairly flat back here. If you want to use the block, you might be able to bring your hands down to a block, or you can take your hands towards the floor and fold over that front leg. Letting the back of your neck lengthen. And again, just feeling into that sacrum, making sure that the pelvis is nice and stable. And then from there, we're going to lift the chest back up again. You can either bring your hands back to your hips, or you can reach them out in front of you, bend the front knee, lift all the way back up, warrior one. Exhale, draw your elbows down and back. Inhale again, hands to the sky. And exhale, elbows draw down and back. One more from there. And exhale. Keep that action of pressing the shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Let's take hands behind and interlace the fingers. And then open your chest and fold on the inside of your right leg into humble warrior. If that doesn't feel good, you can stay upright and just focus on opening the chest there. And keep that right knee stacked over the right ankle so it can have the habit of falling in, particularly when we start to find this forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands to the mat. Step back and you can come through a flow here, or you can go straight back to downward facing dog. Inhaling, the chest lifts. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale, left leg lifts to the sky, so lifting that leg up, and just then bringing your attention back to your hands again. So don't lock the elbows, keep both hands pressing into the floor, left heel to the buttock, and then open that left knee towards the sky. Keep drawing your heart towards your thighs. And then squaring the hips, left foot steps through between the hands, right heel grounds. Let's come up, warrior one, reaching your hands up. And bring your hands down towards your hips. Let's tilt the hips and shoulders towards the front of your mat. So you can adjust the feet if you need to here. Straighten your left leg. And then lift up through the spine. We're going to fold forwards over that front leg. So either hand staying at the hips or taking them down to block or the floor as you fold. And again, there's maybe just that slight shift of the weight into the front foot so that your pelvis stays nice and stable and steady. One more breath there. And to come back up again, engaging through your legs and through your core, either hands to hips or hands reaching forwards to lift you back up. Back to warrior one. Inhale there. Exhale, elbows down and back. Two more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. One more. And drawing the elbows down and back, holding there, taking the hands back behind you. Take a different grip with the fingers this time if you can remember. So different thumb on top. Open your chest. And inhale here. As you exhale, folding on the inside of that left leg, bowing your heart towards the floor. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then releasing your hands all the way down towards the earth, stepping back to plank and coming through chaturanga here, the vinyasa, or you can find your way back to your down dog or your child's. Making your way back into your downward facing dog. Let's bend the knees and look to the hands. Step your feet all the way to the front of the mat, halfway lift. And then exhale to fold. And sink your hips deep. Sweep your hands up. And then standing up and bringing your hands to your heart. Inhale and exhale. And let's sink down into chair again. So sinking the tailbone down and back and sweeping your hands up. And this time you might like to bring your feet together, squeeze the knees together, hands to the heart. We're going to twist. So we'll twist to the right side first, taking your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Spread the feet on the floor. Just watch that your hips don't shift as you twist, so keep the hips in line. And then we move more through this upper spine. So sinking the hips and seeing if you can press your heart away from your thighs. Maybe you look up over that right shoulder, encouraging a little more movement in that direction. 3 more breaths here. In and out through the nose. And then next inhale, you can come back to center and then separate your feet, come down through forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to fold. And sink the hips deep. Sweep your hands up, chair. And then drawing your hands to your heart. So heel toeing the feet together again, big toe mounds touching, right elbow to the outside of the left thighs now. And sinking your hips down, keeping them in line with the feet as you twist through the upper spine, head perhaps turning over that left shoulder. Maybe feeling that intensity starting to build in the legs. Seeing if you can stay with that, meet it with breath. And then bring yourself back to center as you inhale and separate the feet. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Draw your heart forwards. And step both feet back into plank. And we're going to take a side plank again here. So right hand into the center. You can come to exactly the same version as we did before with the right knee underneath the hip. If you would like to try a full side plank, you can extend both legs, lifting the hips, pressing the floor away, left hand towards the sky, and balancing on that right hand and the right side of the right foot. Opening your chest without letting the ribs poke out. Inhale here, press the floor away. Exhale, hands back into plank again. I'd swap to the other side. Left hand into the center, rolling to the outside of your left foot. Right hand reaching to the sky. Nice. Keep breathing, keep pressing the floor away so you're not hanging into that left shoulder girdle. You're really pressing out of it. Keep breathing. And then we'll take both hands back down to the earth again. Bring your knees down, lower down through your chaturanga, and then lift up into your back bend. Exhaling back to find down dog or child's. Letting your arms relax on the floor if you're in your child's. And we're going to come up to all fours. We come to dolphin from here, so you might like to use the block for support. I really like to use the block to help me to activate through the shoulders. So you can bring the block between your hands, so the thumbs come underneath, and the hands kind of squeeze the block. So palms of the hands flat onto the floor if you can, and then forearms down. And there's a squeezing action that hopefully you'll find will help to turn on these muscles, stabilizing muscles of the shoulders. So we'll find that action. And if you need to just work with that on your knees, then stay with that. Otherwise, pressing into the hands and the forearms, tuck your toes and start to lift your hips up to find dolphin. And we want still that same action, the shoulder blades pressing onto the back of the heart. Neck lengthens, the head's pressing away from the floor, so you're pressing into your arms to lift the head away from the floor, and then maybe the feet can walk a little closer towards your elbows. Keep breathing, keep activating through those shoulder girdles. Lower ribs drawn in, and the chest drawing towards your thighs. 2 more breaths here if you can. 1 more. And then knees down. Let's come back into child's again. Either the same version, or you may want to have your arms down beside you and just letting the elbows and the shoulders relax down. Let's roll up onto our knees. Bringing the hands in front of you, just interlace your fingers and give your wrists a little roll. So rolling the hands in kind of a figure of 8 movement in one direction and then back in the other direction. And then let's from there come back to our downward facing dog. So spreading your hands shoulder distance apart. Really look at the hands. See if those middle fingers are pointing forwards, the thumb mound's pressing into the ground, the outside edge of the hand is pressing down, and we're using that action to really press the floor away and lengthen through the arms and through the spine. Space across your shoulders and your neck. Take an inhale there. Exhale it out. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Going to step that right foot through between the hands, come up into high lunge, so grounding through your front foot and your back toes. Inhale up. And then open to warrior 2. So back heel grounds, arms open out to the side. The back toes can turn out a little bit, and just making sure that right knee stays stacked over the ankle. From there, do a little bit of flossing action for the shoulders and the hips. So as we inhale, we're going to reach the hands to the sky and straighten that right leg. And then as you exhale back to warrior 2, maybe looking over the right fingertips. Inhale again, straighten the leg, reach up. And exhale back to warrior 2, keeping that knee pointing straight over the toes. 1 more, be really aware of that. Exhale. And this time keep the arms where they are, straighten the leg, and we'll come to triangle. You might want to have your block handy as we tilt from the hips and take the right hand down and the left hand to the sky. Keep the core engaged, so that action of drawing the ribs heavy towards the spine. And then anywhere that right hand can rest on the leg or on a block or on the floor. Let's take an inhale. As you exhale, maybe you can roll that left shoulder back a little more. Maybe look up towards the sky. Keep anchored down through your feet. And then let's bend that front knee and press out of the feet to come all the way back up again. Take a reverse warrior. So right palm to the sky, reach that hand up and back. And then back through to warrior 2, and we'll come into half moon from here. So you may want to grab your block and place it just in front to the right of the right foot. Pressing into your right foot and pressing into that block with your right hand or hand on the floor. Extend your left heel away from you and turn the toes to the left. And then you can release your left hand up towards the sky. Eye gaze can either be down towards the floor, forwards, or to challenge yourself and really focus on opening that chest even more, you can turn your eye gaze towards your left fingertips. On your next inhale, see if you can lift your left leg a little higher. And as you exhale, step all the way back. Find warrior 2. Reverse warrior again, reach up. As we exhale, we're going to take those hands all the way down to the ground. Press your way back into down dog, and you can flow here. These are optional. Come through vinyasa, keep that energy flowing. Or resting in down dog or child's. And let's take the left leg to the sky. Stepping your left foot all the way forwards between your hands, and bending that back knee as you press up into your high lunge. And then opening straight away to warrior 2, so the back heel grounds, arms reaching out at shoulder height. And so let's do that little action again. We're going to inhale, reach the hands up and straighten the left leg. Exhale back down to warrior two. And once again, inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, warrior two. One more time. Keep the awareness on where that left knee is in space. Keep it pressing forwards. And then straighten the leg and come to triangle. So left hand down. Again, finding that length all the way along the body. And either taking your hand to a block or letting it rest on your left leg somewhere. And there's a real action of rolling those right ribs back. Opening up through the chest. One more breath here. And then we'll bend the front knee, press into your feet, come all the way back up again. Left palm to the sky, reverse. And then windmill your hands. Actually, we're going to find half moon. So we'll take the left hand down towards that left foot, perhaps just over the side a little bit so you can feel the hands underneath the shoulder, and then extend your right leg away from you. Your right hand can rest on your hip or up towards the sky, and then playing around with the eye gaze. So turning the gaze up is going to make this a little more challenging, but also help us to open through the shoulders. Where the eyes go, the body wants to follow. And then let's step all the way back again to find our warrior two, reaching the arms out, left palm to the sky, reverse. And then windmill your hands all the way down, stepping back into plank and coming through your chaturanga here, or finding your way back to down dog or child's. Inhale and exhale. Bend your knees, look towards your hands, step your feet all the way to the front, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. And let's sink the hips deep. Sweep your hands up, chair. And stand up, bring hands to the heart. Take a breath in and out here. And we're going to come to an eagle balance here. So I'm going to take a little mini chair, so feet underneath the hips, and then just sinking down a little bit so that you find that kind of bend through the knees. And then we want to really take the weight into that right foot, squeeze the right buttock, and then lift your left leg off the ground and see if you can cross that leg over the top. And if you can get the thighs to connect, that's great. Taking either the toes to the floor or wrapping them towards the back of the calf. Let's take our hands up from there, reaching the hands high, finding your balance. And then the left arm comes underneath the right arm, wrapping the arms, either hands around your shoulders or wrapping so that the hands come together, thumbs towards the face. Lift your elbows a little from here as you sink your hips down and back even more. Hips and shoulders facing towards the front of the mat. And breathing into the back of your shoulders. And 2 more breaths here. Seeing how low you can sink your hips. And then let's from there unravel. Take your hands up, lift your knee. Hold there for a moment. And then take the foot down, hands down, find Tadasana, close your eyes, take a breath. Let's take this shape on the other side. So just sinking down again, bending the knees here. If you need to have a little wriggle between sides, please do. And then weight coming into your left foot now, crossing your right leg over the top. Squeeze the inner thighs together, wrapping your toes behind your calf. And then from there, hands reaching up to the sky, stretch tall. And your right arm coming underneath your left arm this time. Finding eagle, your version of eagle arms. And then seeing if you can sink down and back even more. Nice full breaths, drawing that breath down into your center. Eye gaze, piercing the space beyond your hands. And then unraveling yourself, reach your hands up, lift your knee. Place the foot back down on the ground, hands resting at your heart for a moment. Samasthiti, this shape where we come back into the center. Palms of the hands together, the heart. And then let's reach the hands all the way up, stretch up. Exhaling to come down through your forward fold, rolling down, expanding the back of the body. Take an inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, step your feet all the way back into plank, shifting forwards, and then lowering your knees down and lowering all the way to your belly. And just take a moment to rest here on your belly. With your hands underneath your head, you might have a little sway of your hips from side to side. And then from here, we'll come into a sphinx. So bringing the forearms underneath the shoulders and palms down or hands together. And you might like to stretch those feet back behind you, maybe tucking your chin towards your chest and having a little roll of the head from side to side again a few times. And bringing your head back to center, lifting the chin again, and then taking your elbows out to the sides, roll down onto your belly. And then hands underneath your shoulders, press your weight all the way up and back to child's. You might want to separate the knees here, hips back to the heels, and really stretch your hands forward. So encouraging this real length through the back of your body. And then we're going to roll onto our knees. So bring yourself to come onto high kneeling position. Excuse me. And so come to stand up onto your knees. Knees underneath the hips. Hands behind your back, so fingertips pointing down towards the floor. And then just for a moment, really feel into pressing the hips forwards and having them over the top of the knees. So what can often happen is that we start to lean back, or that we crunch through the lower back and we just hinge from the lower back, rather than really finding that length up from the knees, up through the hips, and then up into the upper spine in camel. So hands at the lower back, elbows drawing towards each other, pressing, even using the hands to encourage this length through the lower back. Inhale here. Exhale, maybe you start to lean back a little bit, heart lifting, eye gaze maybe goes up towards the sky. And really draw up through those inner thighs, through the pelvic floor. And take another couple of breaths if you can. In camel. And then lifting yourself all the way back up again. It's come to sit your hips back onto your heels for a moment, hands resting on your thighs, close your eyes, take a nice long breath in and a breath out. Maybe one more. And we'll come up for a second round of camel. So coming to your high kneeling position again. If you want to skip this, you can stay in child's. If you can almost reach your heels and not quite, you might tuck your toes under so that you've got a little bit more, less height to reach. And then pressing the hips forwards again, hands to the lower back to start with. Lift your chest. Lift up and out of the solid foundation there. And then maybe those right hand reaches right heel and left hand reaches left heel. And you use that connection to then help you find more length and more opening through the upper back. We don't want to crunch through the lower back. So if you're feeling that, come up a little. And then from there, hands back to the low spine to support you, lifting yourself all the way back up again. And then hips back to the heels, so letting your hands rest on your thighs, taking a breath here. And then bringing your hands forwards. Let's find downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back, stretching out through your spine. And then bend your knees, look forwards towards your hands, step your feet forwards, cross the ankles, coming to sit down onto your sit bones. And we'll take the legs out to your left side. And we're going to come into cow face pose here. So you may want to have your block handy and your strap handy. We're going to cross the left leg over the top of the right so that we find this shape with the knees stacked and the heels towards the outsides of the hips. So if that doesn't feel super accessible to you, try sitting up onto a block, and that can create a little bit more space in the hips. You can also do this with the bottom leg extended out in front. Just a half version is going to be a little bit easier if your knees or your hips are feeling too much pressure here. And then we're going to take cow face arms. So the same arm as the leg that's crossed over the top reaches up, so that's the left arm, and then dropping that arm down your back. So you may want to have a strap now and hold that strap in your hand and drop it down your back, and then your right hand coming back behind you. Make sure that you don't let the shoulders shrug forwards, so keep that shoulder rolling back as you reach that hand behind you, and you can catch hold of the strap somewhere close to your left hand. If you can grab the hands, then go for that. But maintain the integrity of this shape, which is that sense of broadness through the shoulders, opening the heart. Keep your lower ribs heavy, top of the head reaching to the sky, lots of space for the neck. So you can always unravel a little bit and take the strap a little wider if you need to find a bit more space there. And then option to fold forwards a little bit. So taking a bit more of a stretch through your hips. And keep the chest broadening, heart drawing forwards. And then let's release, coming all the way back up again. And taking the block out from underneath you as you lean back and uncross your legs, extending the legs out in front of you, just give them a little bit of a shake. And then we'll cross the ankles, and if you can, roll over your ankles, come straight back to plank. We'll come through a little chaturanga here, so bending the knees down to the mat or keeping them off the mat as you lower down. Take an inhale, lift your chest. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forwards, step your feet forwards, coming down again onto your sit bones, and then we'll take the legs to the other side. Taking your right leg over the top of your left leg this time, and again you can come up onto that block if that was helpful, or extend the bottom leg in front of you, and this side might be different, so just feeling into this. And then right hand up towards the sky, let the arm travel down your back, perhaps with the strap attached to it. And then the left arm behind you, holding on to the strap or to your hand. And keep breathing. It can be quite an intense shape. Let the breath help you. Feel that space between the shoulder blades strengthening. Maybe you can lean forwards a little here, taking a bit more of a stretch through the hips if you need that. Slowly coming back up again, release your hands from your strap. Take again the hands back behind you to unravel your legs. Take your feet out in front of you, stretch them out. And then optional, one more little vinyasa here. You can cross your legs, roll over your ankles, press your way back into plank. Lowering down through chaturanga. Inhale up into your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look to your hands, step your feet forwards, coming down onto your sit bones again, let your legs stretch out in front of you. We'll come into a forward fold, so you may want to sit up onto that block again under your sit bones. particularly if hamstrings or lower back are quite tight. And you can always use your strap here for this forward fold. So if you can't reach your feet, pop the strap over the bottoms of your feet, and then you can use the strap like an extension of your arms. So we'll take an inhale here, lifting up through the chest. And then as you exhale, start to draw yourself forward. Just being really mindful of your lower back. If you're feeling that it's super tight there and unstable, then staying with a fairly upright position. Soften through the knees. And draw your heart towards your feet. And staying quite active through the legs, so the heels are pressing away from you. And getting this stretch all the way along the back line of your body. Walk your hands back towards you. Sitting up nice and tall and bending your knees, place the feet flat onto the floor. We're going to come into a reverse tabletop position. So feet can be on the ground and hands are coming back behind you, about hands distance behind your body, with the fingertips pointing towards the buttocks. Now just be really mindful of shoulders and wrists here. If this doesn't feel good, then go nice and slowly. Come down when you need to. Again, we want to press into the hands and really roll the shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Press into your feet, squeeze the buttocks, lift the hips up. So we're aiming for this reverse tabletop with the body nice and straight between the hands and the knees. Maybe your head can tilt back and look towards the sky. Keep pressing the floor away with your hands so you create this opening through the chest. If you're finding that that's feeling okay and you want to try straight legs, you can extend your legs and press up onto your heels. So it's just a little bit harder to lift here. You really need to engage through your legs and your glutes. 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then lowering your hips back down again. You can bend your knees, feet flat to the floor. Just bring your hands together again in that interlaced position, and then giving your wrists a little roll. So rolling around in one direction and then back in the other direction. And let's from here come down onto our back. So you can either stretch your arms out in front and lower yourself down using your core support, or hands down beside your body and roll yourself down, supporting yourself on your hands and your elbows. Let the back of your heart come back onto the ground, the shoulder blades, sacrum, letting your head rest down. And as you get there, you may want to bring your knees in towards your chest and just give your knees a squeeze in towards you, a little rock and roll from side to side perhaps. I'm going to take the feet flat onto the floor. And come into bridge, so hands down beside your body, palms down, pressing into your feet and your hands and lifting your hips up off the ground. So you might have space then to roll the shoulder blades underneath you, interlace your fingers behind your back, draw the knuckles to the heels, creating a nice space for your neck. Really finding that strength in the back body to open the front body. About 3 more breaths here in bridge if you can. And as we come out of bridge, see if you can really think about rolling the shoulder blades out and then draping your spine back down to the earth. So you might even lift your heels and come to your toes and see how much space you can create for the upper back to really be massaged as it comes down. See if you can roll the lower back down too, drawing the lower belly in as you let your sacrum come all the way down to the earth. And then as you get there, separate your feet, let your knees knock in towards each other, and just allow your sacrum to be heavy on the floor. Excellent. And then from here, if you are up for doing some inversion, we're going to come into a couple of variations of shoulder stand and plow. If you're menstruating today, then you may like to skip this. You could come back into bridge again. You might even use the block under your sacrum for supported bridge, or you can keep the sacrum grounded and lift your legs up. So just lifting the legs up to the sky, or a combination of the two of those. You might let your sacrum rest on the block and then lift your legs up. So it's just, even that might be too much, but just that little inversion might be okay for you. We're going to come, if you're coming with me, into a shoulder stand. We're going to bend the knees in towards the chest, hands down beside your body, and use those hands and use your core to lift your hips off the mat. So pressing up and taking your hands to your lower back. So just letting your body be supported by your hands a little bit, and then scooting your elbows closer towards each other so that you draw the shoulder blades underneath the back of the heart. And then from there, you can play around with coming into more of a plow. And you might just do that one leg at a time. You might see if you can reach one foot towards the floor. It might not come to the floor. And then swapping over and bringing the other foot down. Maybe you can bring both feet towards the floor behind your back. It can be quite a strong stretch for the back of the body. Make sure you're not putting any pressure into your neck. We just want the balance on the shoulders, a little bit on the back of the head and the arms. And it can feel a little bit more constricted to breathe here, so just really focus on breathing in and out through the nose as best you can. And then we can see about coming into shoulder stands, the hands maybe walking up a little more towards your mid-spine. Again, the elbows draw towards each other underneath the body. And eventually you might be able to bring your feet above your hips, above your shoulders. A couple more breaths there. And if you want to come back to plow again, you can come back to plow. And then either using hands on the base of the spine or hands down on the ground to roll your spine back down to the earth again. So you can bend your knees wherever you need to. And again, there's that action of draping the back of the heart, the mid-spine, and then the lower back all the way down to the earth. And as you come all the way down, you can bring your feet flat to the floor. You might like to bring the knees together, or you could take your feet wide and let your knees come apart in a reclined butterfly shape. Just allowing the spine to settle onto the ground. And from here, we're going to come into a fish, and you might want to come into supported fish here. So using the block underneath your back, so just bringing yourself up so you can place the block down. If you've got something like a rolled up towel, you could use that. And then bringing yourself back over the block or the towel so that the bottom of your shoulder blades comes to the top of the block. And then leaning back. You might find that you need something under your head. So if you need a blanket or a cushion, you can grab one of those. And then either having the feet on the floor and knees bent, you might feel like you want to extend your legs out, or bring again the soles of the feet together and knees wide. Just allowing your body as best you can to melt over that prop underneath you. Continuing to open up through that stiff thoracic spine. Really feeling that space being created around the physical heart. Filling that up with breath. Bending your knees up again, feet flat to the floor. You can choose to roll over to one side, or perhaps just lift yourself up onto your elbows or lift the hips and slide the block out of the way. And then we'll come down flat onto our backs again. So just lying down, perhaps bringing your knees to your chest again and exploring what it's like to really allow the spine to settle on the ground here. We're going to take the arms out to the sides and create little cactus arms if that feels okay. So you bend the elbows and allow the shoulders to drape onto the floor. And then knees dropping over to your left side as you turn your head over to the right, coming into twist. And finding that steady rhythm of breath in through the nose, out through the nose. And coming back to center, knees back to center, and then drawing your knees over to the other side, letting them drop to the right as perhaps your head turns to the left. Again, really grounding through the shoulders so that that movement comes through the upper spine. And breathing into those spaces between the ribs. And bring yourself all the way back to center, hugging your knees in towards your chest, big squeeze. And then letting your legs extend long now. So we're going to come into Shavasana. If there's any last little movements or shapes you need to take, by all means go for it. Otherwise, we will come straight into Shavasana, letting the feet fall out to the sides, arms resting a little away from your body. And allow your shoulder blades to really melt into the ground, letting your chest open. And taking whatever final adjustments you need here, obviously, to make yourself feel comfortable. And if that needs to be a cushion under your knees or a blanket over the top of you, you're welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. So if you need to turn this video off and allow yourself 15-20 minutes here, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I'll guide you through a short little Shavasana today. And allowing the muscles of your face to soften, and tops of your shoulders and your chest. Taking a nice full breath into your belly. And as you let that breath fall out, just allowing the belly to soften. Letting your sacrum and your legs be nice and heavy on the floor. And allowing the next breath to come in and out naturally without any need to control. And let the practice really settle in every cell of your body. Om. samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So start to bring a little more movement back into your body again. It might be a deeper breath first. Wiggling your fingers and your toes a little bit. And then you might want to have a big stretch before you bend your knees and roll to one side, just resting there for a moment. And then use your hands to support you. Come all the way up into a seat again. So lifting your spine up nice and tall. And you can bring the palms of your hands together in front of your heart again. And checking in with the intention that you set at the start. And reflecting on how you feel right now. And inviting in some gratitude by bringing to mind something that you're grateful for right now in this moment. And we'll close with the sound Om, so you're welcome to either listen or to join in with me, and we'll take a deep breath first. Om. And bring your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows, that connection with your own deepest wisdom. And bring your thumbs to your heart for your connection with all those around you. Take a bow forwards, honoring your connection with the earth. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope your shoulders feel good, hope you're feeling grateful, and hope to see you soon. So let me know if you have any questions about the practice at all. You can get in touch via message or email, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.